Welcome back to the VCT Game Changers APAC Series Open number 3. We're about ready to hop into Series number 2 of day number 1 between Fullsense Sapphire and Orangutan X. Traditionally, two of the most winningest teams in Game Changers APAC besides SMG. Kuldan, how are we feeling about this matchup?
I think we're in for a banger. That's for certain, right? Fullsense Sapphire taking SMG the full distance in the Open 2 Grand Finals, and OGX, right, up there as well. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were the Grand Finalists for Open 1. So we got two Grand Finalist teams battling each other out in the very first round of the playoffs. There can only be one way this ends, and it's with a bang.
I mean, there's got to be like two winners here. It's gonna be whichever team wins, and then it's gonna be all of us, the viewers, because I cannot wait to watch today's series, guys. I think we are going to start off with the Fullsense Sapphire rosters over on your screens. These girls, they need no further introduction. It's gonna be Baby TZ, Jenny, Muffin, Margot, as well as Polly, and yeah, as you mentioned, Kuldan, Open number 2. This is the second place team taking SMG the full distance in that grand final. So we can expect some pretty exciting stuff, I think, coming out from this squad. They did come out of this as qualifiers 5-1, 2-0'd all of their wins, and their only loss was of course, versus SMG, because the way that Swiss works out, like whichever team, if you're 5-0, then you just play the 5-0 teams as your last match, and they actually took one game off of SMG as well in a 1-2.
So let's take a little look at their opponents, right? Orangutan X, we have Emmy, Twirly, Japips, Aruma, as well as Casper on the server here today. And as you mentioned, right, Jenny, actually OGX's only loss in this Open 3 has also been to SMG. So both of these teams have striking similarities, facing up against the best of the best in the region. And now they're going to have to go up against each other. And of course, OGX, right, we know how good these girls are. So very strong in their own respect. And they've been around the scene for so long as well. I think these two rosters have been have been together for such a long time that they've really refined themselves and really pushed and established their rosters as the top of the division, as the top of the squad. It's gonna be an insane match. I cannot wait to see how this all plans out. But yeah, it's just a really nice matchup that we've got the first day.
Yep, I mean, not that we want to use their maps versus SMG as that benchmark, right? But both Fullsense Sapphire and Orangutan X 5-1 coming out of qualifiers, and their only loss versus Team SMG. OGX got 2-0 by SMG. Sapphire did get that one map versus them, and as you're saying, you know, just both these teams so strong. Fullsense Sapphire getting second in Open number 2, Orangutan X getting second in Open number 1, and then third place in Open 2. So I mean, going by history, we have no clue which way the pendulum is going to swing this time around. I think Orangutan X, after their strong performance in Open 1, where they did end second place, they went through a couple of roster swaps here and there. So coming into Open 2, we were like, oh, why did they do that? You know, the squad had so much potential. They stopped fielding Chloe on their roster, for example, and we, you know, had a bit of reservations about them for Open 2, but then they still came in third place. So a lot of expectations on both these squads. And looking at the map picks for the Series 2, it's going to be Pearl that we're going to start off with, buying for map 2, and if it does go to that map 3 decider, we will see Fracture. So right off the bat, Colden, how do we feel about Pearl?
Very juicy map selection. I love this veto. I think this really showcases which team is going to be the most creative and which team is going to be the most synergistic. I think all these three maps requires good communication, good mirror callings. Of course, Pearl can be a little bit one-dimensional when a lot of teams just abuse that B-long position, but I think more and more so, especially with the changes to Pearl, that right, you can defend the B side a lot more. Teams are kind of forced to play a little bit more of the mid rounds towards mid, and maybe leading a bit more towards A as well. So it's really gonna test these two teams against each other. And going by the history, right, I think it's not really controversial for me to say that Fullsense and Sapphire are definitely the favorites in this one, right? Looking at the past record, they faced each other twice this year in Open 2. Fullsense and Sapphire won both of the series, 2-1 and then 2-0. So OGX now,
Yep.
right, they've got those two losses. They've got a lot of VODs they can review. They've got a lot of history that they can really analyze, break down the Fullsense squad and all the strategies they have. And I'm very interested to see what they have coming in for today. Open 2 has been a while ago. They've got quite a bit of time to research and, strategize on anti-strat Fullsense Sapphire. So curious to see what they have here.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, right? Because I think when we're looking at some of the big rivalries in Game Changers APAC, I think Fullsense for sure, they absolutely see SMG as their rivals in the region. Whereas I think for Orangutan X, for them, I think it's more of a case of there are a few teams that they need to beat out to take the place of Game Changers APAC champions. So, I mean, we're talking about just history or like which team, which side is going to be a bit more favored. There is that slight little advantage, but you're talking about how Pearl opens up a whole lot of opportunities for teams to strat each other out, to anti-strat. How do we feel that the agent select might look like this time around? You think we're going to see anything spicy? Gecko?
I'm looking at that past history again.
Viper?
It's been for a majority of the time that Fullsense has played this map. It's been Astra, Gecko, Jet, KO, as well as Killjoy. But most recently, right, in the Swiss stage of Open 3, they've changed their composition up to bring in the Viper Harbor. So that's a pretty big change, right? Going from a single controller to a double controller. I think that's what we might see here today. And just like that, Agent Select is up and ready to go. We're gonna throw things over to that screen to see how, the agent's actually gonna pan out.
I mean, Viper Harbor, we're like, 3 months too late and to get on this Viper Harbor train, but yep, there it is. And let's see. So Astra Phoenix for the side of Orangutan X, and then the Viper Harbor for Fullsense Sapphire, and then both teams retaining that Sky, Killjoy, as well as Jet Core. So how do we feel about this? Especially since I think like Fullsense Sapphire, they're going to start out on the defensive side with the Viper Harbor also.
Yes, exactly that. And when you are starting on the attacking side, it helps you so much when you have a Phoenix in your ranks as well, as opposed to another controller. You have this aggressive duelist that can really flash out of so many smokes, right? One great thing about Phoenix is that his curveball is reliable in the fact that you know the distance it travels before it flashes. And you can do so really, really nicely within smokes, within the Viper, behind the Viper wall, behind the Harbor wall as well. So many walls for you to flash through as a Phoenix, and I think that is one major winning point that they have to focus on if they want to bring home this map.
Yeah, and I love that we're seeing the Phoenix as well. Just Pearl, just one of those maps where we're starting to see Phoenix come back and be viable once again in competitive. But here to bring you guys once again all the action between these two powerhouse teams. Guys, we've got Dax and Black and Blue. Take it away, boys.
Look, it's no classroom, it's the battle of the elites. Both teams are qualified for elite based on their points. Both teams have made it to the grand finals of Open 1 and Open 2 in different instances. And it's a rematch of that Open 2 lower bracket, my friend. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Fullsense Sapphire versus Orangutan X, a match made in heaven. That's there with Black and Blue. And come on, this is such an interesting first map to start with, because we're getting Pearl. And if you remember from back in Open 2, this was Orangutan X's permaban for pretty much the whole run of that circuit.
Well, maybe times have changed and they're hoping for different results here as well, because the last time these two teams faced off each other, well, that was in lower bracket final. We know Fullsense took the best of them, and we're looking here now, and you talked about how they would periodically kind of remove this from the rotation last Open, but they played this quite a lot. If for anything, throughout the Swiss here in Open 3, they've been playing it, 4 times now during the Swiss stage, and that just goes to show they have something planned up on in here. But you look at the composition of Fullsense stacks, and this is something they've started to play only this open 3 to have that Harbor and that Viper.
Yeah, it's a new page of newness, basically. Double control with the double wall versus the double duelist. And honestly, for Orangutan X, you go back to some of their roster changes that they brought in Emmy last open, and now I don't think Chloe's part of the roster anymore. They have doubled down on having her in the front line alongside Twirly. And they do want to enable that as much as possible moving forward. So, such an interesting change here for Orangutan X, willing to play Pearl yet again this open. It is aggression though from Twirly, all alone though isolated by the likes of Polly as well as Margot. Set up with the smokes, it's impressive how Fullsense was able to catch them off guard like that.
Yeah, that's because look at the setup that they've got here, Dax. They have so much to throw in the face of OGX on their attacking side that OGX, if they aren't able to find the proper timing and when those cooldowns are inactive, then they can simply get stuck in the initial attempt itself. Muffin has a great spot here. She dodges the initial clear. They still don't know her position, and they simply capitalize on the space given. Quick and easy, and this round should be done.
Yeah, lemon squeezy indeed, and Emmy's the only one still standing. No HP left for Baby TC. Run away, Baby TC! Gets shot in the back, but beyond that, it's Fullsense back in control, and with the first pistol win. They picked this map for good reason, Black and Blue. This is a map that they're accustomed to, and when they realized that Orangutan banned Haven rather than ban Pearl, they took advantage of it.
Yeah, they knew. You guys might have a plan for this, but I think the real kind of biggest, most impressive thing has been from the single sole performance we did see from Fullsense earlier in the season here. 13-2 versus RRQ Kaguya in the Swiss stage, and that's where they really got to field test this composition of theirs, and it worked out to absolute stellar results, and you can't blame them for trying to replicate it here, as Baby TC gets a pick off to start off the opener second round.
Fullsense, Sapphire from front to back, absolute talent. A team that waited to that international stage last year under a new banner with Fullsense as their new org, compared to Extend and then be free agents for quite a while. Also one player who stepped up immensely last open. I give it to Muffin. Honestly, one of the X factors here for Fullsense moving forward. Polly though, looking to hold towards Flowers here. Finds the target onto Emmy. Japip's just crossing on through anyway. Desperate to get that plant going. In cover now. Some bonus money for Orangutan to work with later on. Flashes to Clash. But it's Fullsense Sapphire prepared for the flawless. And they get it.
Fullsense, you said Dax. Flawless, clean, squeaky clean if anything. Flawless. Not a single mark left untouched. That's what you want to see from this team on the defensive side. They're looking like one of the favorites once again to potentially challenge the, by far, heavily occupied throne that SMG have secured themselves in this past open.
One enemy
looking like the favorites to win it all, but Sapphire, we've seen them do this last year, throughout the entire year. Have shaky moments, have times where they look great, but then ultimately, even if they don't win any of the individual splits, they win the big one. They win Elite at the end. And that's something that they're looking to potentially replicate or even derive and do better from.
Yeah, Fullsense Sapphire, ramping action is the key. And you look back at the history of Open 2, those map wins against SMG. The one map win they got in the Swiss stage, but Orangutan X, now with a full 5 at the ready with full rifles to go. Emmy will drop first plant. Muffin though, stellar shot onto Twirly. He's got the Sheriff, wants to force that closer contact, but here comes Ginny as well. Finds the timing, and yet again, Fullsense looking to play with smoke advantage. These controllers getting pesky. The angle's also taken by the other players. Well done indeed. Muffin though, still contesting towards back holes. Casper's the one who has to try and blockade that vision. I'm watching though what Polly can do. Ginny's there too with the helping hand. Snakebite's there, Orangutan. Bit by bit getting dismantled. Aruma and Casper, they want to play it close, but Ginny just cuts her into ribbons. Casper gets 2, but Muffin's been waiting, and Muffin will collect. It's bonus 1 here for Fullsense.
Lovely punishes coming from Fullsense here. You can see they're very perceptive of what's happening, what the situation is. They know the double duelists have pushed up into the site, have isolated themselves from the rest of the pack, and that allows these lesser weapons to just rain havoc on the push. OGX here have to be careful to not get too ahead of themselves. Twirly and Emmy would sometimes just be so far removed from the rest of the push that They just don't have anybody watching their backs, and that's exactly why they get surrounded a while ago on that B site, because they were all alone.
Yeah, that may be true, but then again, you still look at how Sapphire sets up those walls, and how many times have we seen Paulie and Margot be such a bother with the rest of the OGX roster. You look at Orangutan, and of course, you have to look at Casper in that back line. The star of South Asia, she's been absolutely stellar on that controller role. But from what we've seen so far, because of the walls, because of the smokes Fullsense has, they always keep away the mid line here and take advantage of getting the double Lulas early on. Case in point.
They dropped them this time around without nice smoke to even have to isolate them here. Obviously, it's against the eco, and that benefits them sevenfold. Fullsense's favor. His long-range shots as well. That cascade.
Is that a term?
What?
Sevenfold? Not just twofold? Not just threefold?
It's from
tenfold?
the Bible. And thou shalt be punished sevenfold.
I didn't know you were a religious man.
Sevenfold.
What?
It's when Cain killed Abel.
I can't believe you go to church every Sunday, man. I'm proud of you. But even better here. Twice the pride, twice the fall, and Orangutan will be caught out in a flawless yet again. This is clean from Sapphire so far.
Well, I mean, to say it's clean, it might just be undercutting it. They've been, to quote a popular movie right now, sublime.
Sublime.
And how they've been really being able to, as I said a while ago, be perceptive of what's happening and what the intentions of OGX here, where you can tell they aren't being faked out by the defaults. They aren't necessarily being quickly pulled into any sort of offensive traps. Well, let's see if that changes now that OGX might have started to adjust into this defense.
Yeah, and we've seen from Fullsense yet again aggressive towards the entrance towards site. There's always the forward-facing baby TZ before anything else. And as Orangutan gets that initial intel, they back on the way, left the spike behind to play more of a default stance and look to converge with the split approach instead.
Well, I mean, we haven't really seen a full commit on that split yet. What is good though is that they can seize connector control here, which gives them options on where to suddenly shift and pivot, but they go the opposite way, and
joke's over.
Maybe the split is exactly what they need to try and change things up as they got there while they're trying back down.
Clearing mid, it's a safer link take. The run it back is there too. And Emmy, guns blazing, just fires and forgets. Paulie will fall. Advantage now here for Orangutan. A better clear so far before anything else. But Baby TC wants to clash. Twirly gonna fall to her hand. Retreats now towards dugout. Orangutan knows it's still danger close scenario here. And Fullsense Sapphire setting up the cascades as well. They scout out Japips and they swing her wildly. Fullsense with the advantage now. Orangutan trying to go for the wraparound. Muffin knows Casper's coming. There's the Cove too. And Sapphire looking oh so stellar. Diamonds in the lure up? No, it's just absolutely a shining performance so far. 5 already for Fullsense.
What did I say, Dax? Perceptive. They just are so aware of any possibility. Casper on the flank there. Would have had great timing otherwise, but Muffin just at the ready. The all-seeing eye, all-knowing as well. Omnipresent and omnipotent. They know where to look, they know where to go, and they look flawless so far, 5-0. OGX just, even with the run it down from Emmy, who simply tries to stampede her way into the site. She gets a kill off of it, but it's a post plant that becomes a problem here with so many smokes and so much utility for Fullsense to throw in their face.
And the shots have been absolutely crisp too. Sapphire looking stellar in the run so far. The hot hands there to clear out mid. Emmy leading the charge yet again on the Phoenix. But beyond that, this is space given here by Sapphire. Jinny's the one watching out towards the waterways here, looking to keep an eye out on spawn. The rest of the team just absolutely anchored towards the site. And Muffin adding even more injury to this insult. The op in hand. And she might be able to catch out anyone crossing here.
It actually would be really good here if Aruma makes contact on this alarm bot, because then that will keep the defense towards that A site, which now it does. Smokes on out here towards B. They say we do have the soul rifle onto Emmy, but the rest of her team just being shredded apart. Margot, good for the one. Twirly gets a trade, but Muffin's still up and alive.
My ult's ready.
What a quick shot, too.
Does she know that Chapips is there though, looking to go for the cross? Guiding light makes a sound, and it's only silence here from Orangutan as Sapphire gets another.
Deafening it is here right now, Dax.
Show me where to go.
You simply cannot hear Naya him from OGX right now. The only one round we've seen from them look somewhat competitive was that 5th where they got the plant on the A site, but then Fullsense in a league of their own right now, really kind of innovating, or not even innovating, more just, I guess, incrementally improving on what they've done so far in the past Open, and you can see that they've not necessarily added many new things to their core plan. It's more just refining what they've already had.
And come on, a composition where you run Harbor and Viper together, that has to be a comp where you need to exude mastery. That you need to exude stellar anchoring, great timing with the wall setup, and just reliable players. Look at the standings right now. Muffin, Ginny, Baby TZ. They have just been playing off the smokes of Polly and Margot, playing off those sightlines, and just hitting every single shot that they need to keep Orangutan at bay.
Well, they're not having much of a problem doing that so far. Lockdown available on either side, but it's a reckoning that separates them here, really. And the Cosmic Divide for Casper. And I want to see what exactly they do with that. What has been good for them, though, is been taking kind of that connector control early on, because that just sets the defense to have to be, I guess, guessing more on where they could really go. And if they can continue to do that, that's when they can find these opportunities to really punish and open up the site.
And after the timeout, you can see the adjustment from Orangutan. When you're running the Astra, there's always that lurk potential. And Polly also hit by the wall bang dink. Needs a bit of medication there from Ginny. Orangutan, though, resetting themselves and splitting on up yet again. A 1-3-1 this time with Emmy leading the Art to Link push. So A still looking very likely for Orangutan to hit. Fullsense. They have this adjusted accordingly. Margot's there. Polly will look to reinforce.
Yeah, but all this utility by Baby TZ is already on this A site, which means it's going to be so much more difficult for them to get a quick and clean entry. Emmy has got a lot to do here on her initial contact to be made. Cosmic Divide can separate that back site for them.
Yeah, but it's so hard here for Orangutan. They know the op still holding over this B-long angle. Muffin here, keeping Casper at bay. Just some great instinct to not run out into the open, but eventually something's got to give, and it will be timing with the Nebula. Perfect. I was actually just to dissipate, so a chance here, perhaps for Orangutan to push on forward. 2 fake smokes now to hit the Cosmic Divide, allowing them to cross. We hear the Blade Storm though. We get the Reckoning too, and Orangutan, they will have to deal with Fullsense still. Ginny finds Emmy. Muffin waiting for the timing, sees the commit, but Hips holding close, gets that takedown. Swing after the Trailblazer. Snakebite looking paramount too. Vulnerable even, but Orangutan still fighting on back. It's 3v3 now. The lockdown's there in position. Japip swinging, fighting, sure. Finds Baby TZ. Advantage of Orangutan. Japip stepping on up when needed the most, but Ginny will at least clash. The lockdown's there. Aruma is detained. Ginny, can she find the angle? Deals with the turret first and foremost. Critical damage. A single bullet is enough to get this win for Orangutan. They want to get on the board. The Nano Swarm for the stall. You said there's the win, but can we get the frag? Aruma in cover. Ginny will find the kill, yes. But finally, Orangutan get on the board.
That one PC utility gaining them a single mark of chalk. OGX. You can really see that almost killed them there to try and anchor down towards that back hall. But Japip is coming in big. One of the most storied players, one could say, that we've got in this circuit. And he certainly comes in big when they needed her to the most. A triple for her when put and backed into a corner. That's when the Orangutan strikes back.
Yeah, you know she's playing her heart out right now. Heart on the sleeve.
Get out of my way!
If you've been checking out her Twitter, of course, it's been a bit of a struggle in her personal life. But as of right now, it's time to see if Orangutan can get out of this rut even more so. A single round already to work with, but not the best economy whatsoever. Turley with the blades. Emmy's there with the judge too. And the Seekers out and about. to look for some of these targets. They realize a dugout held still by Baby Teasy. There's a flash, a dash on in. Casper leading alongside Twirly. The right click though, using up all those blades for nothing. Emmy on the inside, shuts down Polly. Emmy burns Aruma along the way, and as it stands, it's Fullsense who's done critical damage instead. As Orangutan try to cross their black and blue, they're getting hit from every side.
How could that have happened? Disastrous here when they needed a bit of stabilization. Pips low HP has got the Trailblazer to try and buy them a bit of information where he's coming. Both make contact. She bites a counter Trailblazer, but she's dead. No way to get out of this.
No chance.
Casper, a mere ghost here, waiting in the shell, and the round is quick and over.
Yeah, it's a bit of an immediate wake-up call for Fullsense. These rounds have just gotten going their way again and again, and especially these A-holds. Baby TZ, an incredible anchor in their own right, but assisted by the Polly and Margot, who work in tandem to keep the cross guessing, to keep it difficult for Orangutan to get on through. You can see the struggle so many times. Orangutan not in the best spot to clash against Fullsense.
OGX, they're one piece of pivot where you think they could have started to string some rounds in a row and just simply swept away. And that can be such a heartbreaker to be on a map like this, a map that you know you can definitely try and overcome, but it just statistically as well hasn't been the most, I guess, successful of theirs. And you go into a very difficult opponent in it as well. You're starting out on a series that you're definitely not the favorite team. Even if you made it to top 3 last time, they're going up against the top 2. So it just works out in Fullsense's favor so many times. They've got the Seekers here as well if anything does become scrappy.
And not only that, Fullsense, Sapphire, their run to become the God Slayers after what they showed in Open 2 versus SMG. You know, eyes are on them. Orangutan taking that gamble, letting this map through in the pool. And as of right now, it's not working the way that they would like. A very split approach though, as the only thing Orangutan has to work with is that hero Bulldog. Margot pushing, looking to help Baby TZ out. Baby TZ though with that first kill, Aruma with the trades, at least a good pick here from Orangutan. Can they get more after the dash in by Twirly? Making noise, trying to cause that attention. Japips though doubles back actually. I thought they'd go for the rotation. There's the smoke, but Fullsense with the kills yet again. Baby TZ, all she needs is a small little angle to work with, and the rest is Fullsense's history. 8-1 now.
Starting to run away with this, especially more so if they take this next round. So difficult to get yourselves going in a situation like this because self-doubt starts to creep in.
One enemy
Momentum
remaining.
heavily in their favor, especially when you don't hit shots that you feel like you should. Still no timeout by OGX.
I'm just thinking why Fullsense Sapphire actually went for this adjustment. They had their struggles versus SMG last open with the Gecko Astra. And from what we're seeing, how they deal with this double duelist, it does seem like they're running these kind of comps to mitigate aggression all across the board. Find those opportunistic angles, create them themselves. It's a bit of an art attack, basically, from what we've seen from Sapphire. The Orangutan, they finally have the rifles in hand here, black and blue. Twirly, oh, the timing! Just an opportune moment, perhaps. Fortunate there for Orangutan. Emmy crosses, must get at the shot. Just runs and guns. Here she goes yet again. A second shot doesn't get the connection. The hot hands behind her too. And a chance here for Orangutan. Emmy with the clear. Margot will make the trade work, but it's only a run it back. Here comes Twirly. Down she falls. The wall yet again in the way. Ginny now trying to play the small nook, the small angle, but Emmy knows it's coming anyway. 3v2 as Emmy is on fire right now. But this has been stuffed out by Polly. Polly with a second instead. Maybe a third. Aruma cancels it. 1v1 now. Scrappy yet again from Orangutan. Another clutch needed from Aruma, and she delivers a second round at least for Orangutan X.
Look at that. 1-2. Emmy to get the game, get the round going. And then in the end, just the clutch out here coming in big with a double. And she just did so much here, Emmy, to get themselves in the fight. Obviously the opening pick there on the swing with the run it back to drop that operator for being effective. And then Aruma there at the end as well, but the fact that Emmy was able to keep them going in that fight when Twirly just could not find herself a proper angle to fight with, as she was shut down by Margot. OGX, it's not the most, I guess, stable way to win a round, but it's one that you can get yourselves going. And we saw a while ago that maybe a clutch, we proposed that maybe a big clutch individual round like that can kind of hype and get the rest of your team going behind you. It didn't work out the first time. Maybe this, with Emmy leading the charge, maybe this is where they get themselves back into stable footing.
Yeah, flames lit here for Emmy. And all throughout this game, even if it's an 8-2 scoreline, Emmy has been making that space for Orangutan. Only problem, many times Orangutan struggled to actually utilize that space because of the lack of frags we get in the front line. This time around, the Phoenix delivers. They catch out Muffin also in an off timing, and honestly, in an off round for her. And from that point on, it did go to that scrap fest that Orangutan X wants to create. So a chance still for Orangutan to make it 8-4. Sapphire's timeout to try and reset themselves and look to command this lead yet again.
Well,
oh my god!
Times Muffin! A double for her! She has her
Triple
cake
already.
and eats it too! A triple! It goes her way! And suddenly any hopes of OGX taken as quick as she can click.
The last round was a fluke. This is what Muffin is all about. Erases 3 immediately. A single shot to pierce through 2. And Muffin, we've seen how incredible she has been for the Sapphire roster. Even more so in the last open. But here we go. This side being closed down by her. Pretty much single-handedly. 4 already. Hungry for the ace. 5 HP left for Twirly. Even the classic will be enough to get that takedown.
Go for it,
But
Muffin.
No, the discipline.
No,
the
it's
discipline
last
from
round, next
Sapphire.
round. Pull out your
No.
pistol. Swing her.
No.
Be the most
No.
undisciplined player right now because you deserve it. She's been having herself a hell of a game. Polly at least secures a round, but my oh my. Muffin,
Last
what
round.
a day and what a game for her to get this hot.
As soon as you saw the angle, you knew it was gonna happen. Pillar is no safety nest when Muffin is that prepared. And Orangutan X, they found a glimmer of hope, and suddenly it has been shut down by Fullsense Sapphire. This operator looking deadly. Half armor here for Orangutan in a desperate bid in the last round of the first half. What else can they do against Sapphire now?
It's either 9-3 or 2-10 here for OGX. Let's see how they're able to try and rectify these early mistakes. Connector control once again. It's something that we see Double Controller really give up a lot when they are playing, you know, on the defensive side because they know that, oh, that water. I think that should be a dead giveaway to Margot. But still Emmy wins that fight. Huge pick. She's got the ult now.
And somehow the Phoenix wins on water. Makes total sense, but in the end, Emmy yet again making that space and causing a bit of chaos. Lockdowns there though from Baby TZ. See the grab block from Casper, preventing Baby TZ to swing out Secret. And from that point on, Seekers and the Flash. Some space made by Orangutan. Emmy and Twirly though looking to lead the charge. Twirly getting on the board. Baby TZ protecting the detain. And the lockdown pops enough to allow her to win out that fight. Ginny though, the Trailblazer! The turret and the Trailblazer! The bite and the bark indeed! Here comes Ginny, and down goes Emmy. Fullsense still in command. A 3v2, make that a 3v1. It's Aruma all alone now. The Nano Swarm for the stall, but the Cher's all she got. She's been hitting the shots, but it's not enough versus Ginny. 10-2 it is. What a lead made by Fullsense.
Oh, that was so close too. After that opening pick there that she found on Twirly, she had lockdown to place. Emmy just trying to will her team here into a round, but just the lockdown there being too much of a problem. Obviously the right back expiring before she can fully round the corner too. In the end too, Fullsense just so much more in command of the situation. But in command of our conversation will be Jenny and Koldan.
Thanks, gentlemen. But whew, what a half from Fullsense. 10-2. OGX just straight out of the gate. I think one thing that we really wanted to highlight was Muffin on the operator, just how devastating it's been, and just, I mean, the patience that she shows on the op as well. Kolden, what are your thoughts?
We could see early on in the half, right? We saw how OGX actually really wanted to abuse mid, right? Multiple times they kept trying to push mid, and it just didn't work. They had the ground, they had the map control, they just could not convert the rounds. They sometimes even had the site, but the post plants and the retakes were so good coming through from Fullsense Sapphire. They played as a true team. Every single time you see them taking fights, it's most likely always 2 or 3 people fighting together. The smokes, the walls was so oppressive. There was so much obstruction for the side of OGX to try to even get onto site. And from then on, heroics coming in from Fullsense Sapphire, they were all on point.
I love hearing Black and Blue with like the intrusive thoughts. You know, we're praising Muffin for her patience. Black and Blue out here being like, just swing out, girl, you deserve it. And we're like, wait a minute, Nika, that is not the play. But I mean, we got 30 seconds left in this halftime. How do we feel going into the swap? Do you think OGX have a chance to turn it around?
I think that OGX need to really stabilize themselves. They need to calm down and remember that this is not the end of the map just yet. Yes, it's a devastating half, but at least get a couple more rounds on the board and really establish themselves some kind of advantage, or a couple of rounds at least, going into the next map.
All right, well, we're going to see if OGX can somehow turn this one around. Dax and Blue, back to you guys.
Thank you there, Cold Danachu. I'm still not vibing it. We need to make a fair name. We need to make a fair name for them, okay? In these past few days,
like
but right now, what? I mean, it's Ray Richie. It's pretty obvious already. It's a Pokemon reference. But then again, Orangutan X, they're gonna need more than that. They're gonna need to create a way for them to recover into this game. It's such a big problem right now that they can't find the answer to this double wall. They send out Emmy, they send out Twirly to try and make that space, but it doesn't lead to enough. Can they find the frags early on this time, or will Fullsense Sapphire just set up the way they want to yet again to wrap up this game?
It's gonna be very difficult right now. Mentally is the biggest thing, to get yourself back into fighting capacity in these type of situations, right? You just have such an insurmountable lead, it seems, in front of you, and you almost want to look forward into map number 2, but if you're the underdog here, which OGX definitely is, then these type of maps, they're definitely ones that you want to try and secure. Statistically, not the best map of Fullsense, for sure, but it's one that they've certainly rectified and really improved upon with this new composition they've got. Aruma's just such in a difficult spot. She's getting hammered here on the back hall.
Yeah, burning basically thanks to the snake fight, but Emmy does find Baby TZ, and Orangutan provide enough cover to allow the retreat. So advantage now here for Orangutan X. A chance on the retake, but look at Fullsense lead the charge and get punished accordingly for it. Ginny and Marco, the only one still standing. Cascades there to try and find an isolated angle, but here comes Orangutan, and down goes Fullsense Sapphire. Confidence has not been rattled. It's Orangutan X who takes a much-needed pistol.
It's a great flank that they're able to pull off here, Emmy, especially with a Sheriff like that, to try and further make that long position an even bigger threat. Because of the fact that she was able to secure that long position, it made it so that Fullsense were pressured to have to play within the site, but also forced out to potentially push out, and it gave them this kind of half and half choice on which is the right one to take. And OGX just able to use that confusion to their advantage, and even the climb up to Mount Everest starts with a single step. So OGX, at least it's one in the right direction.
Yeah, and Orangutan X, at least they're in better positions this time around. I dare say that they're better suited on the attack, but from what we've seen, Fullsense separating them too many times, putting them in bad spots. At the very least, here on the defense, they know where to anchor, and the rest can be history if they hit their shots. Twirly with the Marshall, and Saruma instead will be pressured by Sapphire. Muffin there looking for the tag. Trailblazer also preventing her from swinging out of connector. And the question is, does Fullsense work from that point? Baby TZ though falls despite a bit of an advantage. Emmy and Twirly, the takedowns necessary for Orangutan's success. And Twirly's not done. She's covering up that link immensely, wanting to catch the cross, and Margu hit even with those guesstimate shots. 3 already. The Marshall mattering here. The updraft to get on the way. Jenny trying to find the frag, but no dice whatsoever. Twirly gets away with bloody murder. And 4 for her and 4 for Orangutan.
She kept it spinning there at least. The top rolling. Made it much more difficult to connect the shot. Twirly blind shot here as well through the smoke. Gets Margot.
Enemy remaining.
Obviously the follow-up, but it's this one where he somehow is able to escape the clutches. Single shot left, and that's all she needs to the chest. 4-10. They're starting to slowly make some noise here, but it's a mere murmur compared to the lead they still have to climb up against. It's a bonus too, and one that might prove to be difficult.
Look, it's a tough mountain to climb, and a single step became that double step there at least with a 2-round string so far. This is where their defense does get tested though. Yeah, double step. Hey, double step. Oh. You want to talk about it here? You want to talk about that here?
No, I'm just saying.
Congratulations to him, that's for sure. Yeah, but maybe Fullsense can stop those steps from happening along the way. They have the rifles at the ready. The Trailblazer is there too. And honestly, this is the setup we've been anticipating so far here. 7th wall, look for an opportunity to cross, but they're keeping Orangutan guessing instead.
You have to make sure they take the right choice here. Orangutan not entirely aware of what's been happening. You can see they're starting to catch on. A bit too slowly on the rotation here from Fullsense as they near all these footsteps barreling down towards the B site. The Nanoswarm though, that's going to be crucial in keeping them at bay. Smoke popped a bit too late.
30
Gotta
seconds
watch out
left.
what Aruma can do in this situation. Fullsense has crossed, and they want to make their way toward the site. Covet's there, though, for protection. They can plant it out in the open because of it. Swirly, though, dashing on in. Trailblazers there, too, but they still can't get the shots because of that Cove. Instead, it's Swirly who isolates Muffin, and with Spectre in hand, does get the takedown. It's 4v4 for now, though. Rifle still at the ready here for Fullsense Sapphire. They're playing the long game for now. They want to use those smokes to help them out in the pinch. Twirly tried to just clash accordingly. Casper's there too, swinging on by. Ginny though, over at the corner. Casper, great heads up to find the angle. Casper for the second. Twirly's there in position. And Orangutan X, it's only Baby TC now that they need to deal with. 3v1, and Twirly gets it done. Orangutan answer back. The bonus is won by them.
No way, even at that range, they're the ones who still fight out for the long fight. And it's because that they were able to take these multiple isolated 1v1s. You see here on the back end, Muffin isolated on the back. Ginny as well, not expecting the forward push coming from Casper. And then at range, they simply have the player advantage to win those peaks. Fullsense. This is a very timely pause and timeout for them because they know that they can't let this lead be cut into even more further.
Yeah, it's looking a bit more wonky here for Fullsense Sapphire. The fact that Casper, with her great heads-up play, just swinging to get in cover towards Pillar in time, find Ginny there trying to set up the flash. That was the moment where everything changed in favor back to Orangutan X. And you know that Fullsense Sapphire, they're going to want to play with utility, right? Using this double wall setup, having Baby TZ, having Paulie there who can just go for the snake bites and nanoswarms later on. But the fact that Orangutan is willing to take the fight towards Fullsense Sapphire, it's what's really keeping tabs on Sapphire at this point.
Well, Sapphire have to be sure that, or at least try and secure as much as possible, that this bleeding is currently flowing, but they gotta find some way to cauterize the wound, stop it from continuing on. OGX starting to rip and tear into him slowly but surely. And that could propose to be an even bigger problem now that they've built up enough economy to start supporting this operator by flash.
Curveball to start things off. Cloudburst is there though to prevent that contact. From that point on, Sapphire, they just make that noise towards mid. They're looking to see if they can bring Paulie across this B-long angle. But Swirly has had enough. The up in hand, keeping tabs on the longer ranges if ever. And we're not done with Orangutan X being proactive here. Casper playing towards main, getting into cover. Sets a few stars on the other side though, but does she realize it's not just one, but many here from Fullsense Sapphire. Casper gets the first, but Muffin with an immediate trade. That stinger, packing that punch that they need at close range.
Is it really worth it at this point, now that they've given up that rifle, right? They lose their sole controller on the defensive side. Gives them a better chance here, Fullsense. Oh, Polly, she could have immaculate timing here. Emmy's probably gonna check her. That snakebite alerts her to what she was already assuming. But that also keeps the defense here towards A bit more.
Yeah, they're pulling that away as much as possible. Twirly does double back to get in position. But is it enough space created here by Sapphire to get in there in the first place? Duck screen is set on up. The flash is perfect. Twirly has to get in position, but Muffin will punish her immediately. What a play so far by Sapphire. Can they get the job done? It's 4v3 though. The Orangutan X already on the retake. The Blaze Wall's there to separate the longer angle. Holes is where Orangutan wants to collapse on, and that they do. 2v2 though. Lesser guns here for Fullsense, and Emmy finds her target. Baby TZ will fall, and it's all up to Polly now. She can't deal with those hot hands indeed. And Orangutan X keep the win streak alive.
OGX, it came to very close margins. I don't think they're going to be able to save that op. They don't have time to run to it. That's what I was talking about, though. Casper only good for the one here. That would be worth it if it was a full gun round for both sides, but because it wasn't, that's a worthwhile trade. You lose 1 for 1, you take a Vandal in return. Definitely could have been a dangerous, much more dangerous position that turned out to be. But at least they still get the round here. 10-6. They've got the economy to continue buying on up. No operator out for Orangutan this time, but it's a reckoning that I'm looking for. How does Fullsense use this? Do you use it for the post plan or the initial execute?
I mean, they can get big intel with it. But honestly, the threat right now that Fullsense Sapphire needs to deal with has to be Emmy. She's been stellar so far. Even in the first half, there are struggles, yes. But she's found some big rounds. And here in the second, it's gotten even better. The lockdown, though, to begin with, create that space here for Sapphire. They also go for a more shallow high tide. They want to go for the plant in the closer angles here towards main.
Yeah, they know they want to play that post plant instead. They do have the snake bites and the nanoswarms for Linus potentially. Polly off the catch, off the lurk. Has to be careful for a second follow-up. Twirly there to get the trade. It's down to a 4v4. They still have the Cosmic Divide, and they have to use that Reckoning to try and dissuade that from being effective.
Expects the first lurk, but not the second. The Trailblazer gets connection to the room of plus by Jenny along the way. It's Muffin who has to deal with multiple targets and multiple angles. The pips will fall, and Baby TZ willing to just punch Casper in the face with that rifle. Aruma with a tap, but there is no faking out Fullsense whatsoever. It's 2v1 now. Twirly versus the world. The high tide slowing her down, and the Cosmic Divide just silencing those voices. Danger close. Thy name is Baby TZ. Wins it again, and Fullsense do get on the board finally in the second half.
Nicely done here from Fullsense, and as I was mentioning, that Reckoning is a great tool to try and nullify the effectivity of a Cosmic Divide there, because a lot of times it becomes a problem. The Cosmic Divide is not only, obviously, you can't hear, you can't see, you can't shoot through, but it allows the opposition, the opposing side, to post themselves up and anchor down and hold an angle. But because of the Reckoning, it forces them to move, forces them to be a bit more mobile and active, and that's where they get the punish. You see that they time it well when the sun's about to come on in. When they go for the tap, they double swing to get the kills that they need. So nicely done here for Fullsense to get themselves back into the game, and they stop the damage just a bit.
Yeah, they still have that immense lead to work with, especially. But that was a round full of ultimates there, Black and Blue. This time around, they're gonna have to try and make this B take work the way they want. Twirly, no op this time. The rifle instead, looking for contact. Snake bite though thrown. She knows now that Sapphire's coming her way. The Trailblazer also with the scout. Snake bite connects actually. The Trailblazer does so as well. So flushing out the defender so far, Fullsense take advantage.
Updraft is used here by Twirly. She's got the one Cloudburst left remaining, and you can see they still have lots of reinitiate utility here. The flashes, the curveball. That's going to be big. Guiding Light to confirm that there is backhaul presence, and here comes Fullsense.
Second one. And she's ready for the close contact, but Aruma just bobbing, weaving, finding those angles to get to. Here comes Emmy as well, but Margot does punish her in that instance. It's 2v3 inside the smoke. They can see that spike. There's a turret too. It's just a battle dome immediately made. Welcome to the show of Margot, and Margot will get the quad to win it for Fullsense. Match point now for the attackers.
They played that so well. You can see Margot was looking for timing there as well to potentially use her high tide, but she knew that she could not let her guard down just yet. And even with OGX, bringing this to a 5v2.
One enemy
Incredible
remaining.
stuff we see that Baby TZ and Margot are able to accomplish here. And Margot being able to check that smoke, that sole fact made it so that they knew that no one was actually on the spike and they weren't pressured to push even further. Why was nobody in the smoke? If they're going to try and go for a tap like that, you need somebody to play off that information. But the smoke that, by the way, they themselves placed, Casper placed that down on the defensive retaking side, that just made it so that they had no information on what was happening from the attacking Fullsense.
Well, I think they just didn't expect them to play that close this time around. We've seen from Sapphire, their post plants move towards that pillar. They don't like to play towards the former billboard, whatever that thing is right now. And then Margot even hits the shot onto Emmy. That's where everything swung back in favor for Fullsense. The turret there placed for initial intel, but it just reacts a little too late. And from that point on, that was just incredible for Margot. Sapphire can do these amazing things if they're given that kind of chance. And Orangutan now is feeling that pressure since they still see they have a long way to go to try and tie things up.
Baby TZ is doing a great job there too of pulling attention her way to let Margot losing a bit of more committed position, kind of have the leeway
I got the spike.
to find those kills that she did. The initial information gathered here towards A main kind of signals to Fullsense that there's might be a bit more presence there than we otherwise might want to deal with. So
Poison's
let's try to
toxins
go the other
going
way.
up.
I mean, the flashes did clash anyway. Intel provided for both sides, and as soon as Sapphire realized that, they do go for B instead. Muffin clearing out
Here.
Link, leading the charge yet again. Alarm block broken. Now they know here from Orangutan what's coming. Not only that, the lurk from Polly. She's been trying to be very silent on her approach. The rest of Fullsense looking to catch out anyone overcommitting onto the lurk instead. But right now they have time. They'll regroup to go hit A.
We have once again Casper pushed up here towards A main. In this case, she might actually be a great piece of this puzzle. Again, early pickoff when they least expect it. If they do execute onto this A site, is
30
contact
seconds
here
left.
towards Art, trying to draw up the site here. But as I said, since Casper is still here towards A main, she actually knows they're coming. She can get the double, but no, they
Spike
clear her
planted.
out perfectly. 4v5 now it stands.
Yeah, they saw her do that a few rounds ago. They expect it this time around, and Casper will be turned into an apparition early on. Advantage here for Sapphire. They get the post plant that they want. Here comes Twirly though! Dancing now with the blades.
shot.
Baby TZ will fall. A chance perhaps to get even a second, but Polly, despite the low HP, she gets a takedown. This forces Emmy to push, but Polly yet again! Where are these kills coming from? They're just lining up for her, but Japips and the Guardian at least fighting back. It's 2v3, and Sapphire there
One enemy
towards Link.
remaining.
Margot swings, hits, and gets them all at the very end. This was commanding from Fullsense Sapphire, and a well-deserved victory to start off the series.
They're just completely stoic even after the win. They know the job ain't done just yet. Till the lady sings, and what a way to do so here. Great recovery, I think, or at least attempt at one coming from OGX in that second half. You can see them trying to rally up, especially after the opening pistol win, but it just was too little too late. There was just such a big cushion here that Fullsense were able to build up throughout the first half that they had to play perfectly just to be able to come back into the game, and it was way too difficult to do even that. So Fullsense, you look at how even in a round like that where Polly, for example, they know where she is, yet she's still able to get that kill. Maybe TZ flushes Casper out. The fact that they're able to win these fights, but also be perceptive of once more what's to come, that's really what gave him the edge, I think, in this map 1.
And there were huge moments all throughout for Sapphire as well. You look at that first half where you just have Baby TZ be such a strong anchor. You'd have Muffin there just completely decimate anyone
Margot.
going towards her side. You know, Margot. I think really the last two rounds, the linchpin of the stratagem. With having Margot, with having Polly pop off like that, not just be able to cut up the battleground the way that they would like, but hit those kind of shots, it really goes to show that Sapphire is the squad looking to become those God Slayers, right? To try and make that deep run in the upper bracket to face off against Team SMG yet again. And from what we've seen on Pearl so far, it's a big statement made to begin this series against Orangutan X.
Well, that's definitely one way to announce they're opening up here in this series, but we still got 2 more maps potentially, possibly just 1. But we're gonna have to find out when we come back, because our panel, they got something to say about this.
Yep, I mean, we look like we were gonna smell a 10-2 cursed comeback at some point, but Fullsense Sapphire just made some good adjustments mid-map before OGX, like, were even allowed to run away with it. Koldam, what do we think?
It was that 10-2 half, as you mentioned, and it was a pretty damning one, I would say. And we saw OGX actually come into their own at the start of the second half, right? They looked like re-energized. We saw the insane martial round coming in from Twirly. It felt like, alright, this is it. This is where they come back. We are on this Cinderella story. And Fullsense Sapphire just said, hey guys, let's just turn on our monitors, you know? Let's actually just start playing together. And then everything just went downhill from there. I mean, the synergy coming in. And yeah, just take a look at the scoreboard. I think it kind of speaks for itself. Up on the top, we have Emmy, we have Twirly, both putting up decent numbers as your double duelist, right? 6 first kills coming in for Emmy as well. Unfortunately, I think OGX just needed at least 1 more member, right? Aruma, Casper, or Japeeps to really just be up there in terms of the frags, because it felt like a lot of pressure was just on the duelists, and it was an extremely tall task when you're going up against Fullsense. Killjoy, top of the scoreboard. Baby TZ, 18 and 8, and followed very closely by most of her teammates. I mean, 17, 16, 15, everybody putting up numbers. Fullsense Sapphire just looked like, as you know, the casters mentioned, God Slayers, potentially.
Yeah, and Twirly also, as you talked about, just with that absolutely insane martial rounds, gotta do something for your ACS. But I think you're talking also about how OGX, like, they did have some shining moments in this map, like that 4-round snowball, showing that they've still got a bit of steam in their sails. But of course, the woman of the hour, it's going to be Baby TZ getting that well-deserved MVP on that Killjoy. And I love how we have like these new player photos in Open 3. Like, we changed up the graphics of it. I love how like a lot of the teams, like, they did like new photo shoots, and we've got just so many more photos that just really bring out the personality of the Game Changers players. I love it, man.
Yeah, and can you imagine just this face as you're entering site, and then she kills like half of your squad?
Yo,
just instantly delete it, just like that.
You gotta get
that
you
face
someone
just pops up in your head.
who can do both, right? I mean, this is the type of KJ that you want to be anchoring your team down with. 73.7 KD assist right there. I mean, whew, that is a pretty good number that she's putting up. But I mean, we are in the middle of that best of 3 series, right? So we maybe kind of did expect Fullsense Sapphire to put up a pretty good showing, but we still do have potentially 2 more maps left. And I think that OGX, you know, they've shown us a couple of good things in this map number 1, right? That 4-round snowball, Twirly with the Marshall as well. And they've also showed, like, I think Emmy has put up some great map control here and there also. So, we'll have to see. You know, I'm still kind of sniffing that map number 3 that may be on the cards. But guys, you know, it's late. It's 8:40 p.m. If you haven't ordered your dinner on a food delivery app, then do so right now. Go get your food and come back. We'll be back after a break. I forgot. I don't think GC is sponsored by GrabFood. Oh my god.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Ascension is.
Spike down A. One enemy. Oops. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
what you got. Back that up, 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 back that up.
Hi guys, and welcome back to map number 2, and what could very well be the deciding map between Fullsense Sapphire as well as Orangutan X in this best of 3 series, our last series of the day. And given how that scoreline went in map number 1, Colden, how do we feel about this map number 2, especially for OGX's chances?
I think OGX just needs to reset their mental, because that first map,
yeah,
it got up to 6 rounds, but that was hardly competitive, I would say. I think Fullsense Sapphire had their game in their back pocket once the second half started. I mean, 10-2 is an insane half to start off with, and coming back from that was not going to be easy at all. So I think most importantly, they need to reset their mental heading into Bind, right? And maybe they can forge a slow, reverse sweep, I would say, coming into Fracture as well. But Fullsense Sapphire is gonna take a lot to derail this train, because right now they're looking so on point. Everything's been flowing for them, and their synergies have been, second to none. They just look like it's the same Fullsense Sapphire from Open 2, and that Fullsense was devastating.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they're straight on that win train, but I think Bind is a really interesting map to be playing for this map number 2, right? I mean, I think that we're kind of gonna see that like it might turn out to be a bit better for Orangutan X, just because when we were talking about map 1 on Pearl, we were like, sweet, it's gonna be a big map, we're finally gonna see these teams cooking up something, a lot of like opportunities to play mid, for example. But Bind, now that we're going back to a smaller, a maybe more traditional map that I think these teams are used to, it might just help Orangutan X just bring things back to the basics. What do you think?
I think OGX has to come in with something innovative, because we know that Fullsense Sapphire are good on Bind. So a little recap, right? The only team that Fullsense Sapphire has lost to on Bind has been SMG. Other than that, it's been wins all around, and they even beat SMG in Open 2 in the grand finals, right? On Bind itself. So picking Bind into not SMGs, picking Bind into Fullsense Sapphire, you gotta come in with the game plan. You gotta come in with something innovative to really catch them off guard, and that might be on the cards, because if I take a little look at the the OGX lineup, right, for this Open 3, they're actually changing things up a little bit. They are running a double controller, double duelist composition on Bind. So that might just be the key to take away Bind from Fullsense Sapphire, but it's got to come down to the executions and the little micro plays that they have.
Yeah, that's always the thing, right? Because, like, how do you play standard versus a team that is so good at playing standard on this map? But then it's like, if you want to try to come up with something innovative, you got to make sure that you can execute that properly. So we're going to hop into Agent Select to see if OGX are going to go in on this double duelist strategy. And, I mean, day 1 of playoffs, sure, they could afford to lose this series. They still will have another chance in the double elimination bracket to climb back up. But I mean, you don't really want to ever lose. We will see. Oh, it is going to be the raised jet.
Yeah, so pretty interesting coming in from them. It's a not a very standard composition. The Astra as well as the Viper as well as double duelists. I think Fullsense Sapphire, opting instead of a raise to put on a Cypher. That one is a little bit more traditional, but OGX, I think what they really want to capitalize on is Twirly as well as Emmy. Right? We saw both of them at the top of the scoreboard for OGX. I think those two are their win factors, and Aruma, Casper, and Japeeps all have to just work together to really enable Twirly and Emmy to really get into good positions, win out their gunfights, and topple Fullsense Sapphire that way. Because as a team, as strategies, in terms of that kind of aspect, I think Fullsense Sapphire have the edge over there. So OGX, they've got to rely on their win conditions. They've got to rely on their strengths, which is Emmy as well as Twirly.
Yeah, I also really want to highlight the Astra pickup as well for OGX, because that's going to be really important in terms of just comboing with the rest of the agents on your squad. It also helps to just enable like your Raze, for example, and it's just very unique, just 5 agent composition that they are running versus, of course, the more traditional Breach as well as a Cypher for Fullsense Sapphire. But guys, once again, here to bring you guys all the action to see if OGX can mount this map to come back in this best of 3. So of course, Dax and Black and Blue, guys, over to you.
Thanks again there to the panel. So will the road to recovery start on their map pick? Orangutan X, they need to prove themselves here on Bind, because if you look at the stats, right, Black and Blue, it's not the best when you're facing off such a solid squad like Sapphire.
I mean, we saw them play versus Team SMG just a few days ago, and wasn't the most convincing case. So if you're an OGX fan right now, this might be one of the more terrifying scenarios to be in, especially against a team like FS here, who are just a lot more dominant on Bind than this squad otherwise will be. So Shower is being taken on away. They're trying to bum rush them down. Difficult position for Margot to be in, and they still get the kill off of her.
Yeah! Fullsense Sapphire reel her in, and just like a lamb to the slaughter,
down A.
she has been taken down, massacred indeed by Sapphire so far. Just absolutely baited by that point there.
They thought they could just overrun and catch up to her, which I get the intent, but just falling well into the hands and into the plans here of Fullsense under defense. A Cypher trap, the tripwire off of Baby TZ as well. Gang a catch here, I believe, on Twirly towards that short position.
Standing.
Oh, she sees it through the one-way too. Sees the foot step out and nails ahead.
You see this round?
Casper.
See this round?
He's dead.
Hook, line, and sinker. Every single trap, every single setup Fullsense had towards that A site, it delivered. And from just how Margot got back into cover in time, and Emmy desperate to get that takedown, to Polly and her setup here towards short. Sapphire, they are already putting a stranglehold to begin with in this map.
It isn't even a necessarily set trap that they had there. It just turned out to be, because you see them trying to peek there towards that Showers, and then on the fallback, Margot just gets help right in the nick of time for Baby TZ, for Muffet to get those kills going, Polly especially. Now OGX in a difficult spot once more.
And Orangutan, you kind of look back at a bit of history, thinking about why would they pick this map. This was one of the bans Fullsense Sapphire used to have back in Open 2, especially against Orangutan X. And then suddenly Fullsense won this map alongside Split versus SMG in the grand final. So it's kind of a pick your poison scenario. Orangutan X, they know they're gonna have to deal with a tough map anyway. They look for a map that they can run this double duelist. And what do you think about the Astra Viper while we have this time on the anti-eco, basically? Since you see Casper back on her comfort pick, but Aruma on the Viper is a very interesting call here for Orangutan. They dash in towards B. Ginny gonna back away for the time being, and elbow being held. It's still Orangutan making their way towards the site at least.
Well, I'll give you my thoughts on that in just a bit. I actually do have time, because I do think the double controller here, especially when it's an Astra and Viper, gives you much more flexibility what you can do, but there's no changing the fact that this elbow position is what they're fighting for. Muffin, a double on her. Every frag going the way for Fullsense of the most part. Oh, no. Aruma just, no, she walks into it. At that point, it's basically a nade.
And Fullsense just takes the second round in relatively clean fashion. Yet again, they know when to back off, and that's one strength you usually see on discipline teams like Sapphire, right? They love to play as a unit, find the angles where they can provide cover for one another, and use the map's geometry to the best success. And you see that a lot on Bind. You can back away towards backside, you can back away into the tunnels, into the hallways that lead towards the site, and really we see here for Sapphire, they have such a strong defensive position later on into the round.
So the positioning here is one of the biggest strength points of Fullsense as a whole in this entire circuit. The way that they know they can play off of each other. They have positions like this here towards long where when one makes contact, the other is at the ready to swing, no matter what. There's contingencies for that. Now this Trailblazer could be a problem. It finds out both of them. Paint Shell's on out, and Muffin has to rescind control.
Yeah, quick little flash too as Sapphire disengages as soon as Orangutan lobs at Paint Shells. So a bit of utility at least. Forced out here by the defense. Polly yet again. Happy to play towards the lamps. Hold this angle with her own screen Poison Cloud, basically. And as of right now, Snake by 2 for the stall. So at the very least, Sapphire still using the same pillars of success they had for the past few rounds. Orangutan though, calling for their own attention. They smoke out the one-way themselves to provide their own semblance of control. Emmy leading the charge now. And this might be contact here. Towards Polly.
30 seconds left.
Hold still. Here for Sapphire. The discipline, the timing yet again. And Polly is ready for Aruma of all people. Emmy though at least opens things up against Margot. There's the duel. Emmy wins it again. And the Orangutan have made their way towards A.
Huge kills coming from Emmy. Getting themselves going here. Twirly on the swing is punished by Baby TZ. If Muffin can find this kill, that could be huge. Double now here for Baby TZ. A triple for her. It's a 1v1. Japeeps, a bit more aware of where she could be, has circumvented and wrapped around.
Oh, heard that.
No way that Baby TZ comes out of this on top. Quick and easy. They get the bonus going their way. Right, but, I mean, was it really the most successful one at the end?
Some critical damage done by Sapphire, and it all started here courtesy of Polly. Baby easy too. Yet again, there's always a threat from the Sapphire roster. But the one thing you can rely on Orangutan X is that space creation. From the first map to the second, from ever since we've seen Emmy on this roster, she will push this team to the absolute limit. And Sapphire has done a good job in that first map to mitigate that approach. Let's see if they can keep on going this time around with the rifles ready.
He's got the Neural Theft now up and online early. That's one of the quicker ultimates to build on up. Trailblazer spots out that Muffin is here in the corner. She can dash back into the gardens or fall back into the TP. Swing wide, takes the short option, and Emmy just follows up on Ginny, who had nobody else to help her.
Yeah, did you know those are 2 judges from the double duelists? They were just rushing in, holding W. Twirly, though, can't play against that range. So the plant comes down, and OGX will force the issue instead. Sapphire now navigating towards elbow. Successful on the anti-eco, this time with the rifles. Can they make this angle work? Casper says no. Polly wants to challenge yet again, but the guiding light, some great heads up here from Orangutan yet again. Japeeps keeping Casper alive. Twirly there holding close, and Fullsense has to back on away. When there is no fear, Orangutan is here, and this B site is theirs for the round.
Yeah, they're pushing it here. And the lines drawn seem to fade ever quicker as OGX looking to push the boundaries even further. Fullsense. Oh, I thought they were going to go push further, but no, they're actually trying to save their weapons too here towards the spawn. So little do they know, single corner separates them all.
Well, so a hero rifle at least for Sapphire to utilize, but Orangutan, if there is just that willingness to push, this is the perfect map to do so. Emmy and Twirly will work hand in hand to rush down anyone here, black and blue. And I do feel like Sapphire needs to always keep tabs of the entryways towards sites if ever they want to punish them in the app.
Shake them up.
Well, what can they punish with now? They've got lesser weaponry. Well, we've seen these type of rounds be converted on the map like Pearl. Oh, Muffin, she's aware of that. She's so close. Has to fall on back. Margobi is taken on down. And Muffin, able to escape and get healed back up.
Yeah, big commit there from Fullsense. They sent out 3, and they come home with 2 left standing. From this point on, though, Orangutan now navigating towards A side. Polly yet again alongside Baby TZ. Honestly, their utility setup, such a big threat. Especially talking about the short cross. Polly's been strong with the timings. Emmy and Twirly will have to clear that out appropriately. Casper sets up a few stars also while she's lurking towards B. Tries to draw attention away. Muffin though will find her, and this will be the tell from Orangutan. They move towards the side, and Emmy gets on top of things and catches out Baby TZ. The pinch yet again. Emmy actually pushing towards spawn. I thought she'd go for labs. She wants to catch out Ginny instead. And Ginny, is she aware of this? Absolutely not. Orangutan in places no one will find. Muffin though finds Emmy smacking down that wall. And it's 2v2 for now. The Seekers are there though. The Pip's looking for a target. Realizes tower's held by Muffin. And Torley's there to get that takedown. Paulie's the last one standing. 2v1. Lamp still. The rifle picked up. The Vandal in hand, sure. Or rather, the Bulldog still.
It's still a Bulldog.
It's still a Bulldog. It looks like one, okay.
It's just the Araxis. I know she thought so as well. But Twirly's the one to put the final 2 nails in this coffin for the round. And you can see her OGX stacks, they really love to push the envelope in terms of where FS would expect him. First, it was Emmy to push there towards that defender side spawn, towards that CT, to get the catch off on the Ginny, and then Twirly doing more of the same to find Muffin when they thought they would wrap around and take lamps away. It's full sense, but a lot of emphasis on holding that lamps. OGX, they were like, okay, if you really want to have it, sure, but we'll take your spawn away instead.
Yeah, keep it, right? That's all yours, Paulie. See you near the end of the round. I can't believe we got debated by the Araxis skin of all things though, but Muffin now in a bad spot. There's the pulse, and here comes Emmy. Blades out, wanting to go for a target. Showstopper's there too, and Twirly full sends it towards Marco. Japip's also on the other angle. Marco burns one down along the way, and it's Ginny who has to hold down the line. Advantage though, clearly in favor of Orangutan. They have the numbers. They have the teleport that they use if ever they want to rotate. Well, they force the issue, and Emmy will get caught appropriately. Baby TZ now with intel. Baby TZ with a second commanding presence, made even worse now with a Viper Spit waiting on the other side.
Huge scan here from Full Sense. They're looking to maybe rectify whatever mistakes they had earlier on. And they got the tripwire here towards that default cross as well. They have to be careful. The snag, it catches the peeps. He has to try and back off to safety. He does get stunned. Knows there's a bit more time to play with.
Yeah, this is pretty much a force plant towards APC for Orangutan, if ever, unless they rotate. And exactly that. Teleport still. Ginny
30
anchoring.
seconds left.
It's been very responsible for this site for so long. It's intel here, and the clear, it's not enough. Aruma will fall, and Ginny can still fight. The Pips, yes, that's the one, but Baby TZ brings it to 3. 3-3 now as Full Sense fights back.
A lot more of a back and forth game we're getting here early on, in contrast to what we saw a while ago in map number 1 near the end of things. But it's a nice opening entry into that hookah. But Marco just taking Twirly down from beyond the grave. Started and kicked off what Baby TZ would continue into a triple for her. Great scan and great round from Full Sense.
Yeah, it's just as soon as Baby TZ got back in position, you know the anchor specialist for Full Sense was ready for contact. Timeout called now though by Sapphire. They still have some qualms with what's going on, and I feel like the biggest issue here is they struggle versus the forces of Twirly and Emmy. The pressure by the double duelists has hurt them very much so in the early parts of these rounds.
Well, you know what is painful, Dex?
What?
Stubbing your toe.
Oh.
And that's
Dude.
what... Well, okay, I want to hear your point more now.
I have no point. It happened to me the other day, and now there's like dried blood under my toenail. Kind of TL.
Aw.
That's the TMI, but you know. So what's your point? Related to the game, please.
Stubbing your toe is painful. It's an ouchie. And going down to a nose, another ouchie. To the kokoro.
I think going down to a no is more than stubbing your toe, man.
It's about there.
Maybe it's as painful as stepping on Legos, but...
Have you... Never mind.
Yes, many a times. But hey, we are still watching Valor. We're still seeing the Blade Storm here from Muffin too. And maybe that's the answer for Full Sense. Look for the clash early on and contend with Twirly and Emmy as soon as possible.
Well, one has to wonder what's more painful, a Lego or a Mega Block. In this case, two sides of the same coin. Is OGX and Full Sense finally equalizing themselves in terms of how they play and being able to close out these rounds. We see Full Sense so far. The 2 rounds that they've won more effectively were the ones where they had kind of a great catch on the aggression from OGX. Otherwise, when they can't stop it, when they try and push these one-ways, or when they try and overrun towards a defender side spawn, OGX just have free reign to work with the space that they are quick in taking.
Yeah, work with the space, work with the momentum. Remember, that was a 3-round streak, if I remember correctly, from the offense. They do split up their duelists, though, this time for Orangutan. Emmy has the up in hand, and Muffin has a different protocol to work with. Lurk now to just wrap around towards his A site, but the hit does come from Orangutan eventually. Time ticking. This is pretty much full commit. Paulie, though, backing away. Cosmic Divide is there to go for cover. And Fullsense Sapphire, they're backing on.
Spike planted.
Muffin's success right now. They let the plant down. Japips ill aware of it. And now a backstab with the blade. Sure, Girly though gets one for her troubles. 4v4 for now. And Fullsense try to scramble their way towards the spike. Margot's already on defuse shoot. He can't get halfway. Jinny's there with a takedown. Here comes Swirly though. Wow, the widest swing to get that kill. And Swirly tries to fight, but Jinny's there ready for closer contact. 3v2 knows where Emmy is. Emmy with a stellar shot. Here comes the flash, and here comes Jinny. But Casper holds it down. Baby TZ will try. Margot will fall there at the very end, and Orangutan will keep this going. They still have the lead here, my friend.
The mere fact that Orangutan were able to not only get a counter trade there on a poly, but also deny that half from being stuck on the initial attempt due to the gravity well, which, by the way, wasn't even placed there initially. It was a immediate reaction to hearing the tap of the spike, and they were just barely able to pull the defuse off Margot off to deny that half right at the last moment. Because otherwise, if they had a half defuse there, that could have been Fullsense's round where they could have stuck it, because they got the half at the end.
Yeah, it was half by Baby TZ, and that's why after that Jinny went for the flash. And speaking of Jinny now, she's hurting. They need a bit of a lumbar support after that one. 31 HP left, only holding the sheriffs, and a different plan for Fullsense. They want to hold close with a few buckies along the way. Surprise Orangutan, but honestly, a big chance for Orangutan to start building this lead if they get a few more picks early on.
So far, though, cutting the noise here, Orangutan just looking to maybe flush out each and every angle. Cypher cam, spy cam, whatever you want to call it. Finds out that there should be at least 2 players here. Maybe only really the one. That's all they need at this point. Fullsense, time ticking down in their favor. And the more time they can burn, the more hasty they're going to make OGX on this A-side push.
Yeah, and the Seeker's now out. And of course, Muffin and Paulie are the first victims. Emmy fighting 2 towards his B side. But the spike has already found its home over at A. And here we go again. Lamps is held by Fullsense Sapphire. Trailblazers there. Casper will swing it, look to go for the chase, and here comes Casper indeed. Orangutan from that point on just win the round in relatively clean fashion. It's a 2-round gap now as Orangutan tried to pull away.
And they made very careful there to not run into any of the traps that they've got. You can see because of that Seekers, it also found out where Polly was waiting in her own poison cloud there towards short. Could have been dangerous for Orangutan to run into, but they're taking no half measures, and they definitely cannot afford to, being down 1-0 in the series, especially against a team like FS, who are one of the best at punishing and finding kills in those openings.
Yeah, and just the adjustment from Orangutan. After that pause, they changed up the pace. They put Emmy on the operator. And from that point on, Fullsense Sapphire is the one struggling yet again to readjust accordingly. Still need to deal though with Baby TZ and her potential. The Cypher Cage is there. You have the Trailblazer looking for anyone close by also as Orangutan commit with the Viper Spit. But they can't go on the inside. Tries to go for the camera, spots up anyone perhaps. Yeah. This is very close. Swirly and Baby TZ barely miss each other. Baby TZ might have heard Emmy actually coming her way. Normal strike use. This is still time being bought by Fullsense. And Orangutan now. Muffin will find Casper. A good beginning for the defense here, Black and Blue, and they're just waiting for this timing. They're waiting for the spike to go down. And from that point on, Fullsense now decides to bring out the guns. There's the kill. It's 4v3. Baby TZ still in striking distance. And Aruma will get caught out there. Japipsto, as soon as the veil falls, leads now to a 2v2 scenario. And it's Ginny instead. Who will be that last surprise? Maybe with Lars.
30 seconds.
Second. No,
Last
Twirly
player
denies it. And it's
standing.
1v1 now.
Huge shot here from Twirly. I can't believe they've still brought this down to a 1v1. She takes a TP all the way towards A site. She should have timing. But Polly's already there. Right as soon as she goes for the attempt, and she might
10
have to be
seconds
caught
left.
open.
Oh, showstopper. She's ready for it. The ult online and backing away towards short. Polly has the angle, sees the head of the Raze, but Twirly gets back into cover. Seems like the rocket, no red glare used. Twirly now looking to get a bit of high ground here, but Polly in cover goes for the half, and Twirly will punish her accordingly. Well, sit down, be humbled by Twirly yet again, as Orangutan clutches at the very end.
Huge round here from Twirly. You can see Baby TZ trying to maybe get a lucky tag. You can see her using that spy cam to
30 seconds.
fire through the Viper's pit on towards the default plant position there. Not able to get the tag that she wanted. Neural Theft burnt, but they still lose a round in the 4v2 that was effectively, and Twirly just really keeping them throwing them for a spin here. Fullsense, they still have a buy, but not the most ideal one.
And this has been a recovering game from Twirly. She struggled immensely in the first half of the last map, but now we get the contact yet again. 4v4. As soon as Orangutan sees the gates fall, it's a go. They take last control this time. Aruma, though, timing it right versus Muffin. Marco, next contact, sure. Aruma has to back on away. The rest of Orangutan look to converge towards the side. Japipsto will fall. That's a spike now. Let down. So at least Fullsense get a bit of control. They'll force Orangutan to go towards B. And Aruma is separated from the rest of the attackers here.
Yeah, they should get a free plan towards his B site Dax, and it's another 3v3 equalized retake we're gonna see from both sides.
Spike
Definitely
planted.
though, health in the favor of Fullsense here, but Twirly finds an
enemy
early pick on
remaining.
Margot. No more smokes. Ginny goes
Oh.
down, and Twirly a third. She has come online here in the opening half.
Not just her, Orangutan as a whole, online and ready to hit those stellar shots. Casper has been playing protector for Emmy, for Twirly, for the past few rounds in this 4-round streak. Twirly, we said she's been stepping on up, and she's delivering here with 14 takedowns. This is why Orangutan runs this double duelist, because they have a reliable front line that can keep the pace going if they need to.
Certainly a very hot hand that she's got. Her and Emmy, two of the biggest reasons why this Orangutan squad can reach the heights that they already have and can push that envelope even further. Eco now for Fullsense, who just struggle to really get themselves going in here. Japip's good for the one, trade out immediately. That sends Fullsense back.
There you go, even Baby TZ. No escape whatsoever. Orangutan is just feeling where to hit those angles, where to go for the spam, and where to catch us for his Fullsense crossing their way to the other side. So the Seekers now will provide some stellar intel. This is a clear sight here for Orangutan X, and they'll take it accordingly.
Quick plant down there towards the B site. You can see Emmy creeping up, but the fight might be done before he even gets to it. Japip's on the third. No real way for Fullsense to come out on top here.
One
pinch.
enemy remaining.
Yep.
No escape, no chances, and Fullsense Sapphire seems like these senses aren't tingling whatsoever. Black and Blue Orangutan is just in so many times already, whether it be onto the site, whether it be past it, or the contact
enemy
point
remaining.
that Fullsense Sapphire wants to contend with. Orangutan has an answer as soon as possible with their pushes.
Well, what response can you even give here? Especially if you're a team like Fullsense, who just haven't been having the right reads and where this push will come. And when they were looking good on that initial kind of attempt of slowing down the Viper's pit plant towards the B site, they still go out on top. Operator connects Muffin. That's a good start, and she gets out safely.
Yeah, last round of the first half might as well bring out the op. You hear the blades though, courtesy of Emmy's Trailblazer. There's Stu, the updraft has a bit of an angle towards showers, but Muffin realizes and gets away in time. It's a great disengage, but now we get the duel itself. Op versus Op, who will see who first? Muffin now spotted. There's the shot from
way.
Emmy ringing, but
No
Emmy
way.
still loses anyway. Muffin
can't believe it.
survives. Provided enough cover there.
I can't believe she actually comes out on top of that. That has to feel bad if you are Emmy. Was it through the wall and clipped the wall, or was it just barely in the side? Who would have known? Maybe has to be through the wall, right? The fact they didn't kill her outright.
She saw it. Anyway, she saw this as a part of her body. She couldn't go for the leg shot because it still wouldn't be the kill. And now, Fullsense Sapphire, at the very least, having a breath of life near the end of their defense. Can they continue on from this point on? Seems like it's looking a lot more clear-cut. Casper, the only hope now of Orangutan X. The spike so far away from her clutches, and look at where she has to navigate through. Wants to go through short as the Viper Spit does drop on down. 4 targets though to deal with. 13 seconds left. Not even John Wick can find the time to do this, but Casper will try, and she will be denied by Margot. Fullsense at least a recovery round to end the half.
At least they get the one before the first half is done. Muffin here goes down without, rather finds one but without going down, and allows her to find a second later in the round. And if you're a team like FS now, you got a consolation of ending the first half with some sort of momentum. Maybe they can bring that to the second, but our panel's got something to say because they're going to bring you some of the breakdown.
Thanks, gentlemen. Fullsense having a bit of a rougher time to start off this map number 2. I think we really wanted to highlight Amy as well as the Twirly for their standout performances and the map control in map 2. What do we think, Colden?
I mean, we saw Emmy just go absolutely ballistic in like the first half. It was pretty, back and forth between both of these teams. Sapphire and OGX was trading a couple of rounds, but then suddenly when Twirly came online, she just looked like a completely different player as compared to the first map of Pearl. Right, it's like a 180. Now she's just hitting insane shots. She's clutching up rounds. I mean, particularly that 1v2 clutch round that she won with the weird Viper Spit towards the B site. It's a real resurgence coming from Twirly, and that's the game plan for OGX. That is their winning factor that we mentioned early on in the pre-show, right? When Twirly, when Emmy are both online and both hitting their shots, all you need to do is set them up and send them in together. Right, that's a recipe for disaster coming in. If you're the side of Fullsense Sapphire, it's so difficult to counter when Emmy is lurking as a jet with an AWP. Solo lurking as a jet with an AWP on an anti-eco round. And she's just still killing people and still getting away with it. So really, once you set her up for to be comfortable, to really do what she wants to do, send her into Twirly to be that backup in case she does fall. Right, Twirly's there for that trade frag, and what an insane run so far, 8-4, and it seems like that trend's gonna continue on.
How do we think that OGX are gonna do with the double duelists after the swap?
I think they're gonna be proactive. I think they're gonna be aggressive in taking their map control. They're gonna control a certain part of the map with those double duelists, and they're really gonna show who's boss on this. On the other side, Fullsense Sapphire, well, they've got to calm themselves down and really find out what they want to do in this one. They gotta counter those double duelists, and we'll see how Dax and Black and Blue wanna, show us into how this second half's gonna play out.
Hey, man. We are merely the voices. How do we do this? You want to start playing Valorant too, man? But I'll be real. Coldan took the words out of my mouth. I completely agree with him. Orangutan X, they're playing double duelists. You have Emmy, you have an online Twirly. You know they're gonna be raring and willing to fight everywhere and anywhere. Can Fullsense recover on the attack though? Let's find out as we go now to the pistol.
Opening pistol here. Opening round, rather, in this pistol for the second half. B site is where they want to go. Toxic screen in their face, but that won't keep him at bay. The poison, the snake bite will, though. And that just sends Fullsense into having to wait, but doesn't matter. Muffin does not want to
She's in.
Sue aware of this, and they simply have no way to fight back. So I think too hasty here from Fullsense.
Yeah, Orangutan just wins all the duels anyway. As soon as Muffin went in, it was Twirly prepared towards the corner, or rather on the other side of it. And speaking of the other side, Emmy will send Ginny there too. So such a commanding win to begin with for Orangutan X. You know they're feeling so much momentum, and as soon as they cross through the toxic screen, the decay was enough to provide Orangutan an advantage in the firefight.
I mean, they still hit the headshots there, so, you know, you can even hear it in my cast. I was like, the Viper Spit keeps him back. I mean, the toxic screen keeps him there. Never mind. They just push through. Because you wouldn't expect them to do in that case. You can see just a firm disadvantage capitalizing here, Fullsense, rather OGX, on that advantage that they've gained. And it's a difficult position for Fullsense to put themselves in. So now B-side attempt once more. They did go for that orb. Did they secure it? I think they did.
Yeah, at least now they tossed the snake bite 2 from Fullsense. Trying at the very least. Orangutan holding close. Twirly does find Polly, but Polly's far away enough to survive. Didn't even realize Muffin was right there beside her. A dash in now towards the site. Japips and Naruma playing towards elbow. But the rest of Fullsense now, they want to get the plant going as soon as possible. So setup's there, and Fullsense want to fight.
I was about to say, did they not pick up the judge? But now
Yeah,
Jenny
they do.
has it. For a second, she had something else equipped, and this could be a big lynch point here. That could just shut down OGX if you're not careful about it.
Yeah, they need to keep smoking it as smooth as possible just to keep Ginny alive. She's waiting for the timing versus Casper, and there she goes. Muffin also with a kill onto Emmy. Fullsense! Is this a possible eco from them? Japip's the only one still standing. Has to deal with everyone on the other side. And what a steal by Fullsense Sapphire. A thrifty win as soon as they got back into it.
Off of Polly, too. Starting to round off and ending it there. As he said, just firmly out of range. You know, if she just waited in that smoke, probably would have gotten the kill off of Muffin. As it was much closer. And Muffin was walking into the nebula. So, small mishaps and timings there, taking risks that maybe they shouldn't have. No GX pay a price. FS. This is a type of round that can completely swing the momentum of a game to one team's favor.
Yeah, this is their moment now to keep on pushing and to keep on going. They still have a few Spectres in hand, picked up from the opposition. They have a rifle here for Baby TZ. And as we're just flying around the map here, Muffin actually getting in position. Margot, though, has been sucked into the gravity well, but Muffin provides protection. Casper's there, though. Big surprise inside the smoke. Snake Bite's there to try and fight, but Margot, there you go. 4v3 now. The superior buy here for Fullsense Sapphire, panning out to their own success. Whirly Japips, what else can they do? They're out in the open. The Snake Bite's there. Polly will spot them out immediately. And Orangutan X trying to creep towards this Spectre. An SMG at least. A bit of firepower. But the angles Fullsense Sapphire has, they're very, very deadly. Baby TC's coming their way. And Polly's there with the kill already. What a round here for Fullsense Sapphire. Nicely done to get it again.
They're keeping the ball rolling here. Fullsense certainly using the momentum they stole away in that previous round to continue to cut into this lead. Of course, it was against an eco. It's the next round that I think will really be a telltale sign of how these two teams have kind of positioned and settled themselves here in the second half. Operator out now for Emmy. We saw that be a problem. I won't say a huge problem, but certainly a factor that Fullsense had to deal with on Haven's defense a while ago.
Yeah, it was a pace changer immediately. And now, there's the shot, but Muffin gets in cover in time. Now they know where Emmy's stationed. A cloudburst utilized. Does Fullsense push the issue? No, it's a disengage instead. Trailblazer also sent out by Sapphire. They'll look to see what's happening here towards B. I think just because of that intel, now they know. It's a hookup position here for Fullsense. The timing perfect for Muffin especially. And now Sapphire, they have a chance to take opportunity from these angles.
Emmy was looking her way too, but still the angle here. Working out in Muffin's favor. She gets a peek off. OGX are actually pretty lucky that there was no counter swing coming from Polly there, because they could have gotten 2 for 1. That would have been way more worth it as well, making their attempt a lot more difficult. So Polly still being wary of the possible push. The utility here will confirm that they are there towards that Sands, and It's going to be a B-side plant. They should push out further here, knowing the flank is coming.
But she swung the Seeker too wildly, and Japips is there to come and collect this 4v4. I do wonder why Sapphire still plants there towards default as they hold towards backside instead. But maybe that's the full crux of their post plant right now. Snake Bite's thrown and Muffin with the snake down towards Swirly. Aruma with the trade to make it 3v3. Baby TZ waiting inside the smoke, and it's Casper actually giving the advantage. Baby TZ, patience is her virtue. And Casper even hit on the collapse! Through the smoke, gets the takedown. The vet utilized as well. Seems like Marco's been putting in the studies too. Aruma,
done.
the only one standing. Round is over, and Baby TZ will make sure that's the case. What a play though from Baby TZ especially.
Baby TZ, way too easy for her. I call that 95% skill, 5% just concentrated power will. Finding that second follow-up there. They line up just when they needed to, like bowling pins, knocking them both down with a single toss. And OGX's lead.
Okay,
The Orangutan squad. Bit of a monkey ball they're being played for here.
Yeah, and now they're being kept away again and again by Fullsense Sapphire. These rounds have gone in their favor. And you can see so many times that Sapphire, they get some great intel just from Ginny alone. Usually, you only get soft intel from the sky, but through process elimination, they find the angles they can work with, they know where they can play from, and even at the very end, Baby TZ Margot, I love that elbow position that they had such a strong post plant at the very end of it. Oh.
And single orbital strike. And the Molly just, that secures a round. Definitely. No way to get the defuse off at that point in time. Especially with the presence still by Baby TZ. B-side B long here. Look at this. Complete front line of a bout. But Fullsense who come out on top. Damage being done. Emmy good for the one, but they're all being taken down quick and easy. Casper solely stands.
What a kerfuffle immediately. OGX, they gambled to play aggressive. But Sapphire, they ran that play a while ago actually in the first half. They know how to counteract it, and as soon as they see the swing, they punish the 3 accordingly. While we did see Emmy fight back, it's Casper now in an impossible task. Ollie versus Casper, and Casper wins it. Stellar with the shot at the Sheriff, but she can't fight against Baby TZ, who has taken center stage on the site.
Round by round, one step at a time. And it's suddenly caught up to the pace that OGX have been playing. And this is a problem that we've seen on the defense sometimes here on Bind, where after the changes, especially to it, it can be very easy to overrun a defensive hold. Especially on the B side here, you don't have the best anchor positions once you've bypassed the initial choke. There isn't many positions for that defense to really have a safe spot in backside. Going to be always a problem for a nade or a snake bite. Anything else is quickly and easily cleared, unlike some other, unlike maybe the A side, which has a bit more room and leeway to work with, and just that alone already sets pressure on OGX to have to commit a bit more than the other might want to be doing so on the defense here towards that B site. And when they're wrong on what to guess for, Fullsense have once again been perceptive about what's happening.
You're making these eye jokes, aren't you?
Yes. Sensatory jokes.
Sensory,
Sensory.
You know that in the Fallout, right? It's like a special. It's a special system, and right now
The perception.
yeah, the perception is maximized, man. But I think really it's a good point you're making, because Fullsense, they're always proceeding where Orangutan wants to be active. They're finding ways to navigate past that and put themselves in better opportunities, and especially the B side that you mentioned. Many a times that long control has been pivotal. This time around, though, A looking to be a different change of pace here.
Oh, they're pushing out towards showers here. Making sure that no idle attempt is going to go unchecked. But Polly, it's a really good angle here to get this catch off of a Twirly. Twirly has to be careful pushing because she knows they flashed through that, which means it telegraphed the push in the first place. Quick and easy. No problem at all for Polly.
Yeah, false information, and now it's Orangutan who plays yet again into the clutches of Sapphire. This is what we're talking about, though. You know that double duelist wants to push. Sapphire will get the catch and punish accordingly. Muffin now leaning to charge. Baby Teasy gets one, but the Aruma, at least there's a trade. Shower still
planted.
held by Orangutan. A pivotal moment here for Jeff Hibbs. Snuffed out immediately, spotted by Muffin. It's now 3v2. Casper, an incredible shot towards Jenny, but the damage, it's not enough yet. Muffin's here, waiting towards Showers. You have Marco holding on to the spike plant itself. And as of right now, Fullsense. Yes, it's a bit committed. The smoke there to try and isolate the angle, but Casper, she's gonna be running into her own demise. They don't expect where Fullsense is playing from, and exactly has been the case for the past few rounds. Sapphire outmaneuvering, outwitting Orangutan to just at least cut away this lead, and now it's non-existent. We're tied up.
Sweet trade here from Polly. Once again, starting the round and ending it. And if you're Orangutan here, you have to be careful about overcommitting to a push like that. In generalities, if we're speaking of, widespread statistically occurrences, the best option there, if you do flash out, if you use utility for a push like that, you don't commit to push even further by crawling up. But if you walk that way all the way without making noise, without using utility to without telegraphing it, then you can push that further for the flank. But if, once again, utility commit like that, just simply telegraph the Fullsense what was happening, and as I've said, because of just how perceptive they are and aware of what's happening, they are always, or at least for the most part, able to make the right decisions. And Polly, she knew that Troy was going to come her way.
And these right decisions, they have turned into a run-away streak here for Fullsense. I believe, how many is it? 5 already in a row from what we've seen. Here we go, Trailblazer set on up. Emmy spotted and actually dashing, trying to make things out. Wants to go for close contact. Muffin ducks on the way, but Emmy still gets the kill. And Baby TZ is there for the trade. 4v4 for the time being. The hero rifle now gone from the equation. And Baby TZ still has a plan. That second ping of intel causing the rest of Fullsense now to move towards B. But Baby TZ has her own mission versus Casper, but Casper wins it. Well done here by Orangutan to fight on back. They have the numbers, and if they can stem the tide that's coming from long, it can be a defensive victory. Here comes the showstopper, and Margot will be brought down alongside her. The snake bite's there. It's 3v2 for now.
30 seconds left.
Fullsense struggling here to make their way. They have to use the Viper Spit.
So at least gives him some sort of elbow control here, but you can see Aruma trying to find the timing. Oh, she gets spied out by Polly. 2v1! And it's all on the Casper who can't connect the shot. Luckily for Ginny and Polly, they are absolutely aware of what's to come. Insightful response from them, and they take the lead off of it.
Yeah, Polly, Ginny, and the victory. It was a struggle to make their way towards the site. Margot, she was just a victim of the showstopper. But as soon as the Viper Spit and the smoke dissipated, that was just the momentum there from the side of Fullsense. And unfortunate for Casper, she's hit some nutty shots, not that time. Whew.
Orangutan now. I mean, at this point, that's 6 rounds in a row. Can certainly take the steam out of your engine, the wind from your sails if you're Orangutan here mentally. We've seen that happen. We've seen those late game breakdowns a while ago.
Right here.
Definitely would not wish it on a team like this who are already the underdogs in this case. Orbital Strike available here from Margot. They got the Cosmic Divide, importantly for OGX and the Seekers. Where do they commit that is the question. 4 players off their defense on towards B.
And you kind of have to ask the question, is Orangutan running out of steam here? They rely so much on Emmy and Twirly making a big case for that front line, but it's just been stifled. It's been stopped so many times here by Fullsense on their offense. They catch out one of the 2 at the very least. They get a quick plant right now. And for the first time in a long time, Orangutan cede control, go for the 5v5 retake.
They have the Cosmic Divide though, and that Viper's Pit, which can be very useful for their attempt here. They know that Lambs is currently occupied, but they're not really placing that much importance into taking it, at least no real help just yet. And that allows Muffin to get the 1. Polly gets a follow-up as well. This is looking disastrous for OGX.
Yeah, and OGX are just lacking that utility to go for the clear that they would like, and Muffin still holding close as much as possible. In the sea of green, it's Muffin who will look to paint the opposition red. Twirly, the last one standing, but as soon as that happens, she will fall as well. Fullsense in full control.
Could have very full well been a flawless there. And it just seems like they aren't as on top of what they have to do in these cases. Like, you can see them wrapping around there already towards that lamps, but the attempt to actually take the lamps is a bit too late because there wasn't the help from that boombot just yet. And those type of things, disjointed might be the most appropriate word for how OGX's retakes have been going out now. And they committed so much as well into that round, Seekers, Cosmic Divide, and they still aren't able to convert. It's spelling a big problem already here for OGX late in the game as Muffin and Marco, huge double kills.
Yeah, no way to see it. No chance, really. Fullsense Sapphire shut down whatever endeavor Orangutan wants to try and be aggressive with. And from that point on, it's a distinct advantage. They still need to deal with Aruma if ever. She has the Viper Spit. But beyond that, this site is for Fullsense to take.
3v5 Orbital Strike still available. They didn't even have to use that in the previous round, so they're able to hold on to it. And OGX, like, you might want to save at this point, but then again, the pressure of also being at match point, it's a difficult decision to make.
It's such a conundrum also because they effectively forced bot in this round. A Bulldog, a Guardian, and a Vandal. It's an Emporium of guns on the side of Orangutan, and they're lacking the time to go for the retake anyway. Exits maybe. No, it's just a quick evacuation from the defense. There's baby TC! And she just comes to collect anyway! Who's your mommy? Well, baby TC, she's just ready anyway. What? At least? Huh? Even Casper's gone! No saving, no chances. Fullsense is at match point.
Desperate disaster here for OGX to try and come back in from. Spectres, Judges, the Blades, maybe the Viper's Spit. Whatever they can try and scrap together to simply get themselves around. It's going to be very difficult, Dex. And the way that they've been playing here. Do they even have a timeout left? I think they do. They should. But we still don't see them call it yet.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It might be around time to do so.
Yeah, well, they don't have the guns. They still need to deal with the Orbital Strike. It has to be a miracle made here by Emmy.
No.
But there is just non-believers on the other side. Sapphire shuts that down as soon as possible. And from bad to worse, the situation is for the defense.
Difficult position for them to be in now. Viper's Pit pop towards B, but it's the A site that Fullsense are looking to overrun. Twirly needs to get absolute value out of her life here. Casper as well. Maybe they can rat into this. You can see them trying to be aware of the possibility of that Judge and Lamp, so they're going to try and go around it instead.
Concussing him.
And there you go. Casper at least. A stun's there, but no one can swing off it. Fullsense. Get the plant going. And the countdown to destruction. The Orangutan needs to deal with. A chance made by Twirly. Baby TZ shutting it down. Muffin's there. Japips at least with the kill. But it's 3v2 for now. And Orangutan X in a desperate situation. Ginny though waiting for the timing. Staying in such cover. Is ready with the flash as well. But there you go. The beam is lit. And the skies break to let down the Orbital Strike. Marco with the kill. And it's Aruma, the last one standing. 10 HP. And the Dream looking to be dashed by Sapphire. Muffin's waiting. Marco's doing the same. And patience does pay off for Fullsense at the very end. What a half to make a statement. This team, they're looking to slay some gods. And no mere mortals can stop them in their path to it.
You know, I think that's it. This win, map number 2, to my honest opinion, is even more impressive what they were able to do during map number 1. Yeah, map number 1, they had more momentum. They were able to do it more, I guess, concisely, you know, throughout that opening map. But it's about how they were able to recover here when they were down 8-4. And as I talked about before the end of the first half, a lot of times teams, after losing most of the first half and then winning the final round of that first half, round number 12, they're able to utilize that momentum, bring it to the second half, and that's what we saw. It's unfortunate for OGX because this is the map that you thought they could have brought it back into after starting really hot, but the retention of that heat in the first place just begs to be questioned after how this loss has gone.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we saw Orangutan X only get a single round there in the second half, and that was the pistol, right?
Yeah.
From that
Yeah.
point on, when they got ecoed, it just became such a snowball effect. I'd say the word really of the day is that conditioning. The fact that they scared off the double duelists of Emmy and Twirly enough to play more of a post plant, to go for a bit more of retake, and then use that utility advantage to great success. Those are the building blocks that Sapphire has to make a great case for themselves yet again this open. But that's going to be it here for us. An incredible series, an incredible win for Sapphire especially. To break down what just happened, we'll bring you guys to the panel. We'll see you guys in the next one too.
Thank you, gentlemen. Fullsense only letting OGX get one round after that swap and just absolutely blitzing their way to complete that 2-0. Coldan, we were talking about Baby TZ being that cornerstone for Fullsense Sapphire. You want to tell us more?
Yeah, exactly what Dax mentioned, right? The conditioning was so suffocating. I mean, everything that OGX tried, I mean, literally everything they tried was not, it yielded zero results. They tried to push B, they tried to push hookah, they tried to push showers. Every single time they were caught off guard, they were caught with their backs turned, they were caught with counter aggression. And I want to put this I want to frame it in this way, that Fullsense Sapphire made zero mistakes. I mean, yeah, maybe one or two micro mistakes, but in the grand scheme of things, every single decision they made was so on point, was so correct. And what was like an amazing double duelist performance in the first half just disappeared in the second. I mean, they were just out of the server, essentially, completely shut down in every single way. And I mean, Fullsense just coming into their own. And again, throwing back to what Dex said on the cast, Fullsense in full control.
Yeah, and also just they played so disciplined just with their decisions. They played really patient, as we were talking about before we came back to this panel also, like, while they were playing. But we're gonna take a look at the scoreboard right here, because stats don't lie, and it's gonna be Baby TZ coming out on top once again, this time on the Cypher with that 24 and 13 KDA 283 ACS. And I mean, that's just gonna be that one constant for the Fullsense Sapphire team, right? That Baby TZ is gonna come out on top.
It's insane what Fullsense Sapphire has managed to pull off, right? They were down 4-9. It seemed like it was gonna be, OGX slowly coming to their own, finding their groove, and then Fullsense Sapphire, win an eco. 4 players still surviving on that eco round. And then from then on, it was just the Fullsense show all the way through. Post plans doesn't matter. Clutch situations doesn't matter. Man advantage, opening kills doesn't matter. Fullsense Sapphire just was in the lead all of the time. It was just a fantastic showing. And this has to send shockwaves. I mean, if any team watches this map, the resilience from Fullsense Sapphire, the meticulousness. Baby TC was solo clearing map control towards B. She was finding picks. She was forcing the rotations to stay put. She was forcing OGX to get essentially grounded. Like, the roots grew at where they were standing. They were just stuck there for so long. And it's just a brilliant symphony coming in together. And I think if we go and look at the MVP, right, Baby TZ again, top of the scoreboard. The impact is sublime. Even though she's only on that Cypher and on the attacking half, she still managed to pull off so much impact. Just her presence alone. Just knowing that Baby TZ could be coming to your site at any moment, your back's turned, she's in your head.
Yo, that 30.6 headshot percentage though, that's nuts. I think that's the highest headshot percentage I think we've seen out of all the MVPs today. Pretty dang sure, but yeah, it's some pretty good numbers that she is putting up. I love this picture, man, and I love this girl. She's been just such a mainstay in the Game Changers Pacific region for the last 2 to 3 years, as well as just so proud, just seeing her just absolutely just coming into her own and finding that stable footing on this team. But just wow. And you're saying that OGX, they only managed to get one after the half, right? Because it was a 4-8 half that went to that 4-9, and then I think after one of the OGX members bought a judge over on the second round for
Oh,
us,
yeah.
and then they lost that second round after the pistol, and it was just kind of that snowball downwards for them
It
into
kind-
the 13-9.
Yeah, like that one mistake, right? Peeking out of the smoke with the judge. I still vividly remember peeking out, twirly with the judge. Not trying to point her out, but it's just Fullsense Sapphire will take any mistake you make and make you pay for it so severely that you literally cannot do anything about it. It was so
Yep.
sublime. What a performance.
It was, I mean, Ginny picked up that judge and then she just camped CT over on the back of site. And
Yeah.
like, how do you push out of that
You don't.
smoke? Exactly. Or you do and then you just die. And then I think like after that second round, it just went downhill for OGX. And yeah, what a shame. I mean, they had such a good first half as well. I think a lot of us were really expecting like, oh, like this might be the map 3 that we might potentially see. But it is going to be that 2-0 for Fullsense Sapphire, and I think because the mainstream has also concluded, so we do know that Fullsense Sapphire will be getting their match versus RQ Kaguya for tomorrow. But guys, I think we do have an interview ready for y'all. I think it's Margot that's on standby. Margot, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh my god, hi!
Hello.
Hello. Congrats.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
First question we gotta ask: did y'all expect to 2-0 versus Orangutan X? Because OGX, I mean, they're a pretty good team themselves, right? Were y'all expecting for that 2-0?
Well, we do expect to do our best, so we do expect to always win. But we never know what the enemy has behind their sleeves, so we just tried our best.
Very, very nice PC answer. Just giving a lot of respect to OGX, which is what we like to see, that sportsmanship in the league. Koldan, did you have any questions
Yeah,
for
I
Margot?
think I want to call back to where it all ended, or at least where
Went
it all
wrong.
started to go
Went
wrong.
right.
For I
Went
guess
right for them.
yeah, for Fullsense Sapphire, where it all went right. You guys were down 4-9, right? You lost the second pistol on Bind, and then what happened in that second round? What happened after that second round? It went on a 9-round win streak to close out the map. Like, did something change, or did something not change? Like, were you guys just confident throughout? Like, how was your mentality like at that point in time?
I think at that time I was down for only 4 kills, and I was like feeling quite, oh, this is not who I'm usually playing as, I'm not as good as I was. And so my coach just tell me like, oh, it's okay, never mind, just do your best and then just listen to the IGL call and everything. And we just like continued playing as a team, continued playing our best, following Jeannie's call, and we just trusted the process, and there it is, we just won the series.
Yep, I mean, trusting the process definitely worked out for you guys. I wanted to ask also, so when your team is in that sort of situation where like maybe some members aren't performing well, or maybe the overall vibe is a bit down, is there someone or maybe a few people on the team who really like rallies the team together and says like, guys, like, don't give up, we got this, and is that positive influence? Like, is there someone, or like, what do they usually say?
I think honestly not really, but usually I tend to just say, okay, nice try, or Jeannie just say, let's go focus cup, just like let's do our best this round, and not and on and on and on, just focus.
Yeah, that's nice. For the last question before you guys go, wanted to ask what your expectations or your goal is for Open 3.
As always, we expect to do our best, and we always expect to win. And apparently, we already qualified for elite, so
Yes.
Yeah.
we're just trying
Yeah.
to get the backs and try to prove that we can show some fight against the big queen.
Girl, I mean, you guys already qualified for Elite. At this point, y'all could cook up whatever strats y'all want for the next 4 days, or y'all can just go ham. I mean, congratulations. What a series from you girls today. We'll see you tomorrow. Best of luck. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Oh,
love,
what a great
yeah.
interview.
I know, right? I love how every player we talk to is like, well, we expect to win. Like, we come into every single open with the goal that we want to be the champions. And I mean, that's the winner mentality right there, man. I wish all my solo queue teammates had that mentality. Like, I'm pretty sure I queue up sometimes and my teammates are like, oh, like, my goal here today is to lose. But like, wow, I just love hearing from these girls.
Yeah, it was fantastic to hear like the mindset, and it's just nice try. Let's keep on focus on what we have
Yes.
right in front of us. Trusting the process. They played fantastically, and maybe my ranked teammates as well can listen to the interview and then take a couple of points.
Exactly. Well, all right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for day number 1 of the VCT Game Changers APAC series, open number 3. It's been a ball of a time from Colden and I here on the desk, and of course from Dax and Black and Blue, the broadcasters for today. Guys, if you like what you saw for today and you want to check out some more of this Game Changers Pacific action, then guys, we'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place.
One enemy remaining.